For weeks, I told myself it was harmless, a small experiment, a way to understand things I couldn't see, moments I thought would explain her behavior when I wasn't around. I never imagined it would weigh so heavily on me, that a decision I made in a fleeting second of doubt could transform the trust of an entire marriage into something fragile and uncertain. It started innocently, at least in my mind. I had noticed little things. Late nights at the office, her phone buzzing more than usual, small excuses that didn't quite add up, and instead of confronting her directly, I convinced myself that a few cameras hidden in corners, recording nothing more than her daily routines, would offer insight. Insight into what? I never asked myself that fully, not until now. The first night I watched, I felt a mix of curiosity and guilt. The grainy footage showed her laughing at something on her phone, casually moving about the living room, humming a song I didn't recognize. It was mundane, harmless, yet I couldn't shake the anxiety tightening my chest. I had crossed a line I hadn't fully acknowledged, and even as I tried to rationalize my actions, the weight of secrecy pressed harder. Days passed, and each time I checked the recordings, a storm brewed inside me. Moments I once found endearing became triggers for doubt. The way she paused, glanced at her phone, or smiled at something unseen suddenly seemed suspicious. Every laugh, every glance, every gesture became a fragment of a puzzle I thought I needed to solve. But the puzzle only made the image of my own mistrust clearer. I was watching her, yes, but I wasn't really seeing her. I was seeing my fear reflected back at me. Then came the evening when I almost couldn't bear it. She was in the kitchen, preparing dinner, and I sat in the other room staring at the screen. I watched her reach for a bottle of wine, humming along to music, completely unaware of the lens observing her every move. I expected tension, confrontation, a reveal of something I was anxious to discover. But there was nothing, just her in her element, unguarded and unaware. And in that moment, something shifted. I realized it wasn't her behavior I feared. It was a possibility that she could exist without me noticing, without my control, without my constant reassurance that I was present in her life. The cameras were never about truth. They were about my insecurities, my own inability to trust that the life we built together was strong enough to survive uncertainty. Hours passed, and I felt a clarity I hadn't anticipated. Watching her through a lens was not observation. It was a violation. Each movement I saw, each small laugh, each unguarded word, reminded me that trust is a fragile construct, one that cannot be built in secret, nor observed from behind a screen. It needed honesty, conversation, openness. It needed me to step into the room and speak, not hide. But I didn't step in. I didn't turn off the camera, didn't delete the footage. I kept watching. And with every passing minute, a quiet dread settled over me. What if she knew? What if she discovered the cameras tomorrow or next week? How could I justify this to the person I claimed to love more than anything? And yet, the urge to continue was almost irresistible. I was addicted to knowing, addicted to the small power of seeing without being seen, addicted to the illusion that understanding her actions through a lens could substitute for the honesty I lacked the courage to offer. Then, unexpectedly, she spoke to me, though not in words I could hear. She walked into the living room and looked around, her gaze pausing for a brief second where one of the cameras was hidden. I froze. My heart pounded, my palms slick with sweat. She smiled softly, as if sensing something, but said nothing. She carried on, folding laundry, humming a tune that reminded me of early mornings when we had nothing but hope and coffee and quiet conversation. That smile, casual, unguarded, reminded me of the life I had been ignoring. I shut the laptop. I didn't delete the footage. I didn't remove the cameras. I just sat there, feeling the guilt and the relief mingle in an odd, uncomfortable harmony. And I understood, finally, that the truth I had been seeking wasn't in the recordings. It was in the moments we had stopped sharing openly, in the silences that grew longer than our conversations, in the distance created by my own fear and obsession. Watching her without her knowing had given me nothing but clarity of my own failures. I had let suspicion cloud my judgment, let secrecy erode the foundation of a relationship built on years of trust. And in that revelation, I realized that no camera, no lens, no hidden angle could replace honesty, Not a single one. That night, I went to her. I told her nothing about the cameras. Not yet. But I told her everything about myself. About my doubts, my fears, my insecurities. I told her that I had been watching her, that I had let suspicion replace faith, and that it was time to rebuild the bridge that I had almost burned with my own hands. She listened, not with anger, not with judgment, but with the kind of patience that only someone who truly loves you can show. And in her eyes, I saw forgiveness, not for the cameras, not yet, but for the man who was finally beginning to see clearly.